Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be discussing Fortnite Update 8.40. Now, what's odd about this update is that for the past 2 seasons or so, Fortnite has followed a trend of doing one new update a week and alternating between a normal update and a content update. So, for example, last week we got normal update 8.30. That means that this week we should have gotten Content Update 8.30, but instead we got Normal Update 8.40. And according to the Save the World roadmap posted by Epic onto Reddit, they're going to be doing the same thing next week and skipping directly to Update 8.50. I personally think that's a good thing because generally the normal updates are a lot more impactful than the content updates. Getting back to 8.40 though, this update has gotten a solid amount of negative feedback from the Fortnite community. Like I mentioned in my video about 8.30, that's probably largely due to the fact that they continue to not give us back health/shield per kill. But there are some other legitimate problems that were created by 8.40, and we'll get into those a little later in the video. Aside from that, we got a really interesting and borderline overpowered new weapon, some major changes to the map, a cool change to the XP and level up system in Fortnite, and a bunch of other really cool stuff as well. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about from update 8.40 are the brand new purple and gold variants of the infantry rifle. And I think we owe the infantry rifle and Fortnite as well a bit of an apology here. I remember a few weeks ago, this gun was nothing more than a meme because it was hands down one of the worst weapons in all of Fortnite. But after a few changes, most notably it being changed from a projectile fire weapon to a hit scan weapon, we're now in a position where a ton of people are calling the purple and gold infantry rifles legitimately overpowered. I actually had a feeling this was going to happen because if you guys watch Ninja play the World Cup qualifiers, he was constantly using the blue infantry rifle and basically calling it the best assault rifle in the game. Although I wouldn't necessarily agree with that for the blue infantry rifle, I think there's definitely a case to be made for the purple and gold versions. So the stats don't really do this gun justice, but I'll share them anyway just so you can have a general idea of what it's like. So the purple infantry rifle does 42 damage per shot, has a fire rate of 4 shots per second, has an 8-shot magazine size, and a reload time of 2.19 seconds. The gold infantry rifle has the same fire rate and same magazine size, but does 44 damage per shot and has a slightly faster reload time of 2.07 seconds. So DPS-wise, it isn't insane when compared to a weapon like the Scar, but it makes up for that in a variety of different ways. The new infantry rifles remind me so much of the pre-patch purple and gold heavy ARs, and it's why I think they're actually a really good addition to the game. What do I mean by that? Well, every fully auto weapon in Fortnite is obviously subjected to a decent amount of randomness due to bloom. This isn't a huge deal for a weapon like an SMG because you're usually using it in super close range fights. For ARs though, it's a whole different story. You basically live and die by your bloom a lot of the time while you're using an AR. You can have your crosshair pretty much perfectly on an opponent and still miss the majority of your shots simply because of bad bloom. However, with the infantry rifle and heavy AR, bloom is a lot less of a factor. Well, let me clarify, if you fire the heavy AR fully auto, it actually has maybe the worst bloom in the entire game. But people bypass that by pretty much using it like a single shot weapon, and since the infantry rifle is a single shot weapon, you can pretty much avoid bloom altogether if you know how to use it. You gotta space the timing of your shots properly and take advantage of first shot accuracy whenever you get the chance. Plus, if you guys remember, another major positive of the old heavy AR was how good it was when combined with abusing aim assist if you play with a controller. The infantry rifle is basically the same way. You can aim down sights to snap onto an opponent at medium or long range and then immediately shoot. If you're good at that technique, you're going to be able to constantly land shots. Plus, since it's a single shot weapon, it's got really high burst damage potential as well. Here's probably the most crazy example of this that I found. At close range with a gold infantry rifle, you can two-shot headshot a 175 health enemy. I know that's a pretty specific situation, but that's just absolutely ridiculous for an assault rifle. And with the weapon's small bloom and ability to constantly use first shot accuracy, 2 headshots in a row would actually be relatively easy to hit on a slow or non-moving enemy. Trust me, there's nothing that'll turn an AR fight in your favor quicker than an 88 damage headshot. Now, I don't want people to think that the new infantry rifles are the most overpowered thing the game has ever seen, because they aren't. They're going to usually get outclassed by the fully auto ARs at close range, they have a small magazine size, and single-shot weapons definitely aren't for everybody. But if you're someone that really prefers precision in your assault rifles, and you are a big fan of the old heavy AR, then I think you're going to really like the new purple and gold infantry rifles. There's a reason why a lot of players are already calling them overpowered, even though they've only been in the game for less than a day at the time I'm recording this video. Moving on, another major change from update 8.40 was what happened to Loot Lake. I don't usually talk about changes to the Fortnite map in these update videos, but I really think this one is going to have a big impact on the game as a whole. Over the past week or so, excavators started to make their way towards Loot Lake, and we finally got the reveal of what that was about. The middle of Loot Lake now looks something like a construction site with what appears to be some kind of a giant bunker in the middle of it. This point of interest change is really big for 2 specific reasons. First off, it introduced a ton of new chest spawns to Loot Lake. According to what people have mapped out so far, there's at least 36 chests in Loot Lake and the immediate surrounding area now. Here's a map created by @DonnieSC on Twitter that apparently shows all of them. But I said at least 36 because that's what he mapped out. However, according to the replies, he missed at least 1 or 2 additional ones as well. Just to add some context to how crazy 36 plus chest spawns are, that's more than all of Tilted Towers. On top of that, Loot Lake also has 3 potential vending machine spawns as well. 2 of them are in the factories on the west side of the lake, and the third one is in the small shack near Modern House in the northeast corner. So not only is Loot Lake a cool landing spot because of the fact that it was changed, it's also a stacked landing spot for loot now as well. I think this means that as long as those 36 plus chests are there, Loot Lake is going to rival Tilted Towers in terms of total players landing there. And since they're right next to each other on the map, that area is going to be pretty crazy for the time being. Next up, we have a really awesome change regarding gaining XP and leveling up in Fortnite. I'll just read it directly from the patch notes because it gives a really good summary. The Battle Pass Friend XP bonus has been upgraded. Instead of giving a small XP boost to each friend in your party, you now get a larger XP boost for partying with 1 or more friends. The overall total XP bonus remains the same at 120% and will now be much easier to keep active. Here's a summary of what that means. Play any match with any number of friends and you'll be getting the same amount of XP as someone who's been playing with a full squad of Battle Pass owning friends. So I think that summary explains it way better than I ever could, and this is really good news for a lot of people. Only needing 1 friend with the Battle Pass for that max XP boost is going to make it so much easier to level up fast. And finally, with any new update, we gotta talk about performance fixes. This patch was definitely very light in that category. These are really the only 3 somewhat meaningful ones. Fixed an issue where turbo building could stop if you ran out of the current type of material you were using, fixed an issue with traps being placed inside walls, making them difficult to see, and fixed an issue with traps being placed inconsistently when auto-placed. But stop me if you've heard this one before, ever since the 8.40 update was released, people have been having major performance problems in-game. If you guys know what a micro stutter is, it's basically when your game freezes very briefly for maybe a quarter of a second. Imagine that, but instead of your game freezing for a fraction of a second, it lasts a solid 2 or 3 full seconds instead. That's basically what's been happening to almost everybody since this update was released. Xbox, PS4, PC, Nintendo Switch, it doesn't matter, everyone is experiencing it. So I'm making this video about 24 hours before it's set to go live. My hope is that by the time it's uploaded, these major stutters are fixed for everybody. If not, I won't even know what to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on anything related to Update 8.40. What are your thoughts on the new infantry rifles? Are you gonna land Loot Lake now? Have you experienced any stutters or lag spikes since the update? Let me know. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.